So let's begin this section with the 10th District Court Judge, first candidate Jim Lance.
Hi, my name is Jim Lance, and I'm running for judge for the 10th District Court. I'd like to thank MAEDA for inviting us tonight, and I appreciate all of you sitting through this program and listening to us and hopefully making some informed decisions. A little bit about me: I am an attorney, and I live and work in Battle Creek, Michigan. However, my story doesn't begin there. It actually begins in Vietnam. I was actually found on a road abandoned when I was 2 to 3 months old by an American GI. So I always tell the veterans my story doesn't begin without them, so I always appreciate them. I was adopted by a family in Bay City, Michigan, where I was raised. I then attended Michigan State University for both undergraduate and law school. Upon graduation, I clerked at the Michigan Supreme Court and then came to Battle Creek and have been practicing law ever since. The areas of law that I practice are real estate, criminal, and elder law. Recently, I received the inaugural Heroes Award for helping out some elders that were abused, and the Calhoun County Elder Abuse Prevention Coalition provided me with that honor. I'm often asked, why am I running for judge? And I tell people that as a lawyer, I get to help individuals every day, but as a judge, you can help out the community. I believe that our district court is the community court, and it should benefit the citizens and not just lawyers and judges. I hope that you vote for me, and I hope that you endorse me on November 8th on the nonpartisan portion of your ballot. Thank you.
For 10th District Court, Judge Paul Beardsley.
Hello, I'm Paul Beardsley, Judge of the 10th District Court. Thank you to the Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance and to Marshall High School for hosting this event. I've been a district judge now since March of this year, and I'm enjoying the work. For about 25 years, I practiced law in district courts all over Michigan, from Monroe to Ionia, from Flint to St. Joe. I represented individuals, small businesses, cities, schools, and townships around this area and around the state. I represented people in federal courts in Grand Rapids and in Detroit, and in bankruptcy courts. I also practiced in circuit courts and district courts all over the state, in everything from child custody hearings to multi-million-dollar business transactions. I was a member of the Marshall City Council for 3 years. I also served on the school board here for 7 years, and I was the Marshall City Attorney for 10 years. Oh, and I've been on the board of the Brass Band of Battle Creek for about the last 8 years, and I've been chairman of that board since 2012. All of the district courts where I represented clients operated under the same set of court rules, but there are really big differences from one court to another because of the personalities of the judges in those courts. So that has affected the way I approach my job every day. Every time I go into the courtroom, I remind myself that nobody really wants to be there. Whether it's a civil case or a criminal case, the defendant, the plaintiff, the prosecutor, the victim, the witnesses, the cops, nobody's enthused about being in court because it means that everything else they've tried has failed. So my general rule is to try to be as close to on time as possible and to be respectful of everyone who comes into my courtroom and to be fair and impartial. I've learned a great deal since I was sworn in, and I've been fortunate to have the opportunity to work alongside Judge Jim Norlander, Judge Frank Line, Judge Sam Durham. They've been very supportive and helpful, and I appreciate their guidance. And I'm really fortunate to be able to follow Judge John Hallisey as a sobriety court judge. He did great work in creating Calhoun County's sobriety court, and I enjoy it because for some people, it's life-changing. Right now, we have about 70 participants in sobriety court, and over 230 people have graduated from the program with high rate of success. If you want to know how I'm doing on the job, please ask any of the judges who work at the Justice Center, or ask your favorite cops how I'm doing or what kind of person I am. Talk to Sheriff Saxton or former Sheriff Al Byam. Talk to Deputies Todd Turner or Brian Weberling, or talk with Steve Kelly or Scott McDonald from Marshall or Jim Schwartz. Or talk to Mike Olson from Emmett Township or any of the Battle Creek cops, or members of the Calhoun County Sheriff Deputies Association, whose endorsement I'm appreciative of. Or talk to the lawyers you know, both defense lawyers and people from the prosecutor's office. You're not obligated to vote for anyone in this election, but I would appreciate it if you would please turn the ballot over and vote for Judge Beardsley. Thank you.
For 37th Circuit Court, John Sims.
I'd like to thank MAEDA for this opportunity to speak to you all. My name is John Sims, and I'm running for Calhoun County Circuit Court Judge. I am a father of 5, grandfather of 9. Actually, it was supposed to be 8, but Colton came 2 weeks early, or actually 2 months early, so Colton Sims, my 9th grandchild, is now amongst us, and I'm very happy to have him here. I would also like to point out that I am a widower and that I live alone and work not only by myself with my partner, but I also take care of my own home and do all of those things as well. I am very grateful to my family and my friends who help me with that regard. I would like to point out that I have practiced as a private attorney representing clients, people like you, since 1977 in this county and in this state, in every court that you can think of that exists in this state. From the magistrate level to the Michigan Supreme Court, I've argued cases and presented cases in those courts. In the federal system, I have represented people in cases in the United States District Court, not only in this state, but in Georgia, Florida, Texas, and also in Illinois and Indiana. I've also represented clients in the United States Circuit Court of Appeals in the 5th, 7th, and 11th circuits. Quite frankly, I have tried and handled almost every kind of case that most of you would ever imagine. I have represented people and I have done cases with regards to criminal law, from speeding tickets to murder. I have handled divorce, custody, and child support issues, conservatorships, guardianships, corporate law, municipal law, labor law, civil rights law, personal injury law, workers' compensation, unemployment compensation, wrongful discharge. I prosecuted for the city of Albion for several years, and I also was lead counsel in a national class action involving the alleged allegations of price fixing for the infant formula industry. I also would like to use that experience at this point in time on the Calhoun County Circuit Court position. My feeling is that that experience will stand me in good stead with the court, and I will provide a valuable asset to the court, especially in light of the circumstances that we live in today, which are that we are having shrinking budgets and a requirement that more people do more, less people do more things. Quite frankly, the Calhoun County courts have a concurrent jurisdiction plan, which has a situation where the circuit, probate, and district court judges are basically interchangeable, that you have to be able to carry out everything that those people do at any time, based upon an assignment from the Calhoun County Circuit Court Administrator or the Chief Circuit Court Judge. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that a person going into court should find respect from the judge and be respected at all times, and that if the court wishes to be respected and receive dignity from the litigants and the parties who appear before it, it has to provide same to them. I would like to ask you for your vote on November 8th. I believe that I will be the most qualified person running for this position, and my experience will be an asset to the county. Thank you.
Also in the Judge 37th Circuit Court, Tina Yost.
Thank you for this opportunity. I am Tina Yost, and I'm running to be your next Circuit Court Judge. I am proud to say that we've run a clean campaign based upon the issues, and there are 2 issues in this election season for 37th Circuit Court. The first is, what is the position? This is a circuit court position, and I've brought with me tonight a copy of the local administrative order. It shows that our circuit court is divided into 2 divisions. It is divided into a trial division, currently served by Judges Hallisey and Lincoln, and it is divided into a family division, currently served by Judges Kirkham and Miller. It is Judge Miller who is retiring, and his caseload will be assumed by the judge who takes over this position. On Friday of this past week, I received a copy of our family court plan from the Supreme Court Administrator's Office. It clarifies and states that Judge Miller's position is 100% family law. I have confirmed with the Supreme Court Administrative Office that there is no current plan to change that. A family division is required by law and can only be changed with Supreme Court approval. Our family division in Calhoun County is the busiest division that we have. It cannot be served by one judge. You have to have at least 2 full-time judges in the family court. This is a family law position. It will be a family law position. So the next issue is, who is the best person to serve our community in that position? I have 20 years of litigation experience, and while I certainly can handle other types of cases, I have 15 years of dedicated experience working with families and children in our courts here in Calhoun County. I have experience in private practice. I have worked with legal services. I'm currently the managing attorney for the Calhoun County Prosecutor's Office Family CRP Division. And I was a hearing officer referee for almost 12 years, presiding over the very cases that I will hear if elected to this position. I've handled not 50 or 100 or 500 family law cases. I have handled thousands of family law cases. I have been involved in community service agencies on the front lines, and I understand the resources that are needed to meet the challenges our families face. I understand that family law is different. It's like a puzzle piece you must fit, and you have to find the creative solutions. I understand the needs of families. I understand the services that need to be put in place. I want to serve your family, and I'm running because I know I can make a difference. Please vote Tina Yost on November 8th.
37th Circuit Court Judge Brian Kirkham.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance for hosting this event, but more so, I'd like to thank all of you for being out here, because I know that you probably have a lot of other things that you have in your lives that you'd rather be doing than sitting here, so I appreciate your presence at this event. I've served 3.5 years as the Circuit Court Judge, and I'm currently serving as the presiding Family Court Judge. I'm also one of only 2 family court judges in the state of Michigan to be appointed as a business court judge by the Michigan Supreme Court. My goal when I became a judge was to make the courts more open, responsive, and considerate of all those using the courts. Together with court staff and friend of the court, Jeff Aubaugh, we've accomplished a lot. And I have the enviable position to be here tonight and running unopposed. And so you say, well, why are you here? Well, basically because I wanted to give you a report of what we've been doing in the courts during the 3.5 years that I've been on the bench. First, we've implemented a bench warrant recall program that during its first use eliminated hundreds of outstanding bench warrants and generated approximately $30,000 in collected support that had previously not been paid. We've also instituted a previously unused assessment that would result in collection of approximately $28,000 in new revenue per year for the courts and for the courts. Through the more efficient and expeditious handling of child support enforcement hearings, if used by both family court judges, we've saved the county $20,000 per year in attorney fees. We have developed and utilized a deferred sentencing program that will keep child support payers out of jail and working so they can pay their child support. If, however, they don't work or they don't pay, they'll go to jail. We've also implemented a court and front of the court 4D funding enhancement training that will bring tens of thousands of dollars of additional revenue into the front of the court. We've accomplished a lot, but we still have a lot of things to do. But having done these particular things, the most important thing is the public has acknowledged our efforts. In the recent public satisfaction survey, 93% of the public said that they were treated with respect and that their cases were handled fairly. And that's especially phenomenal when you consider that half of the people leaving the courthouse don't feel that, obviously they didn't win, and some of them don't feel that good, but they still recognize what we've done as a court system. So I just want to report that to you, and thank you for being here this evening.
And now for 62nd District Representative of the Michigan House, Michelle Gregory.
I guess I am tall enough for the podium. All right, so my name is Michelle Gregory, the Libertarian candidate running here in District 62. I'm 25 years old. I've got 3 kids. They're 5, 6, and 7. My house gets crazy. But there's a list of reasons why I'm running. The biggest and the nail in the coffin was the $700 Affordable Care Act fine for not being able to get help and not being able to afford health insurance. I'm a certified nurse assistant. I'm a healthcare worker. I want to know why I can't afford health insurance, and a big portion of that is because it's gone up, and I'm sure everybody here has felt the brunt of that with your deductibles and your premiums. I advocate for getting the Affordable Care Act out of Michigan because I personally don't want to pay double that when I file my taxes in 2017. I also want to get rid of Common Core. It's a big problem. My kids are struggling with it now, and my son's only in 2nd grade. I want education to be handled at a more local level, and that's how it should be. Nowhere in the United States Constitution does it say that the federal government has jurisdiction over my health care or my education. So there's a lot of things here in Michigan that need to be fixed, and I want to be that voice in the legislature that tells people what's going on. There's a lot of things that go on behind closed doors, like the fact that just us regular taxpayers are going to shell out over $1 billion in corporate welfare. I want to end the corporate welfare in Michigan. It's done nothing for us. It hasn't created jobs. It's destroyed jobs. It's hurt us. It's raised our taxes. It's just awful. And for what? It only goes to secret corporations that we don't even know. There's no transparency, even though that's against the law. They're supposed to disclose the information, but nobody's going after them. I want to be that voice in the legislature that exposes the corruption going on in our state, because nobody else running is pointing out the problems within the legislature. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm ticked at everything that's been going on. I'm naturally from Illinois. I know what happens when corruption can take over your state. There's a reason I moved. So I ask for your vote in November, because a vote for me is a vote for promoting real constitutional values here in Michigan. So I hope to see you guys out at the polls November 8th. Guys, have a great day, and let's free the mitten.
For 62nd District State House, Jim Hodsma.
Good evening. My name is Jim Hodsma. I want to thank MAEDA for putting on this summit tonight. I'm running in the 62nd District, but I certainly well understand that the 62nd District issues and problems don't stop at the 62nd, 63rd boundaries. And I certainly am a key proponent of working regionally throughout South Central, Southwestern, and our entire state of Michigan. Among the reasons I decided to run in late 2015 for the 62nd District were my dissatisfaction with some of Dr. Bizon's votes. And there are many, but I'm going to review three for you. First, the roads bill from late 2015. It's too little, it's too late. We've got issues right here on State and Indian Creek Bridge in Lee Township that need addressing now, aren't being addressed. And the people that are being most impinged upon with this roads bill are going to be those who most have to work to make a paycheck stretch from 1-2 weeks period to another. And those people are going to pay more in their roads registration and more at the gas tank. So we have too little, too late, and it's a regressive tax. Second, Dr. Bizon voted against the dark stores bill, and our Representative Maturin from the 63rd describe more about that. But in short, this is a bill which would provide more equity between local business and big box stores like Menards and Lowe's. And it too would provide more local revenue sharing to communities like Marshall and Calhoun County. And unless you're a shareholder with Menards or Lowe's, I don't know why inexplicably you would vote against the dark stores bill, which provides basic equity between local business and big box stores. Third, I'm disappointed that Dr. Bison would vote in support of a bill which would provide for an opulent state senate which I don't think we can prioritize at this point in time. I've also been disaffected with tens of thousands of dollars that one Michigan family, the DeVos family, has injected into this campaign over the past 2 cycles. This doesn't come from a family of Calhoun County. Snyder's one-party rule has not served Michigan well. I intend to become elected, provide a new voice, and provide budgetary options that aren't being presented presently. Thank you.
62nd District State Representative John Bison.
Thank you all for coming out today. My name is Dr. John Bison. I am a otolaryngologist. I have spent the last 27 years in medical practice here in Calhoun County. I've been married to my dear wife, Debbie, for the last 43 years. We have raised 4 children, and as a matter of disclosure, I have to admit that Richard Lindsay is looking after 2 of my kids right now in his job over at Oak Lawn Hospital. Thank you so much for looking after my kids, Richard. As 2 of my daughters, one is a general surgeon and one is a psychiatrist here in the Marshall community. 2 of my daughters have graduated from Albion College. I have roots in this area. And I have to say that my background is in healthcare, and I got involved with the political process a mere 2 years ago. When you get me, you get a very, very independent voice that is not a party operative, who will take your interests in heart and will vote your interests. I also have to admit that I don't know all things about every subject. And I have on the other side of me Jerry Johnson, who is my legislative resource. He and I talk with great regularity, last time just a couple days back. And before him, my resource was Becky Rocco, someone who I admired greatly, and I bothered at many hours of the evening and morning in order to answer my questions, and she was always very, very responsive. When you get me in Lansing, you get an independent voice, and that becomes very obvious when you take a look at my staff. I am the first legislator to go to Lansing with a bipartisan staff in probably the last 10 to 15 years. And when you ask, why did I go to Lansing with a bipartisan staff? I didn't necessarily plan to, but I came across this gentleman who was, sure, the past president of the NAACP, who was a school teacher for 10, 12 years and an administrator for another 3 or 4 years afterwards, was a county commissioner for 10 years. And he was the very best person I could find for the job of helping me, and our goals aligned. And I love the job that we have been doing. You'll find that many of my votes, my roads bill, was after you told me, 85% of you told me that you wanted to have a roads bill passed, and so we did that. Dark stores, highest and best use, or do you want taxes that are fair and equitable? I vote fair and equitable rather than highest taxes. I need to thank you so much for being here today, and I encourage you all to turn out on November 8th. Thank you.
Now in the 63rd State House District, John LaPietra.
My thanks to MAEDA, the Marshall Public Schools, and everyone in the audience, along with everybody else. Article 1, Section 1 of our state constitution says, all political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their equal benefit, security, and protection. But in today's Michigan, some people and some parties are more equal than others. More of us are independent from both Democrats and Republicans than identify with either one. Yet those parties in Lansing monopolize government posts of all kinds. They let fat cats with fat checks set the public agenda and defend their power and position against interference by the people. No wonder Michigan ranked dead last in an independent study of state government integrity and accountability last fall. All government is of the people, And everyone who's in government or wants to get in claims to be for the people. But to clean up our pleasant peninsulas, we need more government by the people. That's why I'm running. My campaign is founded on grassroots democracy, one of the 4 pillars of the Green Party, along with social justice, ecological wisdom, and nonviolence. We believe that all eligible voters should be able to vote, all votes should be counted, and only the people should be able to replace their elected officials. We believe in robust rights of referendum and initiative, and the right to recall our elected officials if we don't agree with the way they've been doing their jobs. We believe in stronger oversight of government by the people, stronger FOIA laws than we have now or that are being considered in Lansing today, stronger laws on open meetings and conflict of interest, and a law in the first place, new to Michigan, to disclose government officials' finances and gifts. I have a broad background which will help me implement this agenda. I have 10 years of experience, each in the government, nonprofit, and private sectors. So I have a balanced view of what can be done and how. I know that government is a business, it's the people's business. And it can be done in a business-like way, but not exactly like a private business. For the past 8 years, I've worked as an attorney with areas of practice in civil and constitutional rights and special training in legislative process and legal writing in plain English. I am a father for 5 years, a father for 2 years, a husband for 5, and a homeowner for 2 months. I can handle budgets and I can handle government. I will take no PAC money, and I will take all of your votes if you will vote for me on November 8th or before as an absentee voter. Thank you very much.
63rd District State Representative David Maturin.
I'd like to thank MAEDA and Richard, Jerry, and the folks in the audience for hanging in there till at least 8:30. So I'm your last candidate. I do represent the 63rd District in the State House. 63rd is the east half of Calhoun County and roughly central 2/3 of Calhoun County, and obviously right here where we are tonight in Marshall. When I got to the House, I decided I wanted to be on the policy side rather than the appropriation side. I serve on 4 committees. I'm Vice Chair of Tax Policy. I'm on Energy Policy, on Transportation and Infrastructure, and Local Government. And all 4 of those committees, I think, have a significant impact on just about everybody in this room and on your daily lives. I was honored this year to receive the Michigan Municipal League Legislator of the Year Award and the Michigan Association of Counties Advocate of the Year Award. I like to think the 24 years I spent in local government before I came to the state legislature gives me a unique perspective on the relationship between state government and local government, and the state has an awful lot to say about what local governments can do. A lot of the legislation I've introduced and bills I've got passed deal with taxation. I passed a law dealing with the State Real Estate Transfer Tax Act, which helps homeowners who sell their homes for less money than what they paid for them to keep them from paying a transfer tax on that. It's bad enough to lose money on your house. It's even worse to have to pay a transfer tax at 3/4% for the privilege of doing that. I have a bill right now sitting in the Senate, agricultural transfer tax, that also keeps folks in the agricultural community from seeing their taxable value double, triple, sometimes even quadruple if they don't follow exactly all the rules and fall through some of the bureaucratic cracks. Dark stores was mentioned. That's my bill. I'm the only appraiser in the legislature. And just trying to make the whole system fair. The folks in the big box, Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot, you name it, they all have a special carve-out that nobody in this room gets, okay? And they think they should pay taxes on a value of 25% of what it costs them to build those stores. If you build a house, you probably expect to pay taxes on the value. Those folks don't want to do that. I was also involved with Representative Brand Iden, Senator in office, on what we call an emergency notification bill. The state police just put it into effect a couple days ago. Unfortunately, it's the offshoot of the Uber drivers' rage over in Kalamazoo County. Recently, but I know several of the victims were from Calhoun County. It enables people to get on their cell phone notified of an emergency in their area. Lastly, I'm the author of the House resolution to encourage the Pentagon to locate the Missile Defense Initiative at Fort Custer. Great benefit for our community. Thanks.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of tonight's forum. Would you please join me in thanking these individuals for their willingness to serve? I certainly want to thank MAEDA for this opportunity, and again, we will have a reception in the cafeteria, but before we release you, I want to turn it back over to Richard Lindsay for some closing comments. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody again for coming. Thanks, Jane. I just want to thank everybody again for coming tonight. I wish the auditorium was full, but I'm grateful for everybody that came here tonight. I want to thank Johnny Cash and Dave Cook have recorded this, so it will be on the local cable access channels, so people will have an opportunity to see this outside of just this meeting here tonight. I do want to thank Jane Reed for her fantastic work in putting all this together. It's a lot of work to deal with all these politicians and talk to all of them and get it all straightened up, so thank you, Jane. And again, thank you for all our candidates for coming here tonight. We really appreciate you being here. It's very important to the process to hear what you have to say and to meet you and to have a chance to talk with you. So I encourage everybody to go have cookies and punch and meet the candidates in the cafeteria. And again, thank you on behalf of MAEDA and Marshall Public Schools for coming tonight. Appreciate it.